Well, it's the morning of day 3 now, and I know what you might be thinking. You might be thinking that that last bit of video there ended very suddenly, and that's because just after I recorded that last clip on the cliffs there, a warden came and moved me along, asked me to leave the park as I didn't have a permit for photography. So, you know, I said to him, look, I've tried to contact the authorities, get a permit, haven't been successful. Who do I need to speak to? And he told me to visit the visitor centre on Monday morning and speak to the people there. So that's what I'm going to do. Now, as to whether or not I'm going to actually be successful in getting a permit, that remains to be seen. But I did get some advice from a photographer that I spoke to online about it last night, and he said to me that the Spanish are very protective of their national parks. They're very wary of people coming in with lots of equipment and thinking that everyone that comes in with a big camera could be like a commercial operation trying to profit off their national parks, and they don't like that. I'm kind of skeptical as to whether or not I'm going to get a permit. It got me thinking, what really is the difference between something like this, which, you know, everyone's got one of these now, and the cameras on them are pretty remarkable. They can do pretty decent low light, pretty decent resolution, you know, the sharpness, the colour that you can capture on a smartphone now is catching up to what you can do professionally. You know, they're going to take everyone's smartphones off them before they go into the national park. It's just not practical. So if I'm unsuccessful in getting a permit, there's still really nothing stopping me from going into the parks there and taking photos. I just kind of have to be a little bit less conspicuous about it and use one of these. So that's what I'll do if I can't actually get access with my equipment and get a permit. So that's the outlook for now. Also, I broke my Manfrotto ball head. Well, I didn't break it, I lost a part. I think it was when I was in the crater yesterday. This right here is where the quick release plate kind of clamps in. This button kind of unlocks it, but I did lose the knob that goes in there, twist that little bit there to tension it and, you know, lock it down solidly. The camera L plate kind of still sits in there all right, but, you know, it's not fully stable, so I don't know how much I would actually trust it. So I did find out that there's a hardware store near where I'm staying, so I'm going to head up there later today and try and find a bolt with the right thread size that I can kind of put in there temporarily before when I return to England and get in touch with Manfrotto. Hopefully they can replace that part for me. So yeah, pretty sudden change of plan, but speak to you in a bit. So from a photographic standpoint, not a great deal happened today. I decided to try and forget everything as far as, you know, obtaining a permit, getting access to the national park by wandering around the resort here in Playa Blanca and getting some nice food, having a couple of drinks and just taking it easy for a day, because it is hard work out there in the field, and it's even harder when you kind of don't know if you're going to get arrested for persistently going against the wardens, persistently having to get ushered along, because eventually I do kind of feel like I could get arrested for doing that. So I decided to not get arrested and just stay within the resort. I guess all that remains to do is, like I said, get up to the visitor centre and see what the outcome is. I'm still left with this feeling of confusion. I don't quite understand what the goal is as far as discouraging photography, making it this difficult to actually get into these areas, because these areas are so photogenic. They're just begging for photos to be taken, and why would you make it difficult? More photos of these things can only be a good thing, and it's also beneficial. It's good for their tourism. The Spanish government just really has me confused on that one. So for now, it's late, I'm quite tired, I'm going to turn in, and I'll catch you again tomorrow.